I really wish I could record here, but there are neighbors and it's windy. This is beautiful Tunisia, and it's our location for the week, or weeks to be determined. Hello YouTube, how are you? So I'm on vacation right now, and a lot of people are on vacation, and I shouldn't say on vacation because I'm working, but I'm traveling, and a lot of people are traveling because it's summer, and that's what people do. And you know what else happens during the summer? People have a lot of free time, and they're traveling, and that probably leads to social media, and a lot of it. Stories are filled with different people's daily lives, posts going around, photo dumps from different locations. A lot of that stuff's happening. Should you engage in it? Is it good? Is it not? So I'm not here to give you a full take on social media, mainly because I don't think I'm the best person to do that. And it's a very philosophical, deep topic that I think we could go into for a long time. And so I won't be doing that. But what I will be doing, and I did even take notes, is sharing with you guys how I approach social media. And actually, I'll give you a brief take on it, at least for Instagram, because that seems to be, at least for my generation, the main social media platform. So let's get right into it. The first thing that I really wanted to touch upon is personal branding. And I love branding. It's something I do in my entrepreneurship. It's something I learn at school sometimes, and it's my space, so I love it. I'm also particularly interested in personal branding because this is what, and we'll get to this is mainly what social media can do really well. And so personal branding, what is it? It's how you present yourself to the world. It's your brand. So consider yourself a company. You know, you create the same perceptions associated with brands like companies for yourself. And so you have your personal brand. You portray it either through your reputation at work, through your clothing, through your activities, what you do in your life, and particularly, and especially nowadays, through social media. And so here's the thing about personal branding. It's always existed. You know, people have always had social reputations, people have always had personal brands, and you know, this idea that social media has created this new obsession on the self, or it's made us very individualistic, I think is majoritarily BS, because personal branding has always existed. It's just the medium that it manifests itself that really changed. Before, for instance, it was really about reputation, what people said about you, what you were wearing. Now, really, the first thing someone does after a social interaction or to check up on someone is check their social media. Even when you apply to jobs, and there's stats on this you can look up, people check social media a lot, recruiters do. And they're trying to get an idea of your personal brand. Who is this person, right? And so social media, to me, is not some inherently new principle. It's just a new means to the same end that has always existed, which is taking control of your personal brand. And in that way, I think social media can be great in the sense that it's democratizing personal brands. It's giving you the opportunity to take control of your personal brand, giving more people the opportunity to do that because it's just free and widely available. Now, with caveats, of course, there are a lot of negatives and cons to social media that you can fall into while trying to reap its benefits. And that's why I'm here today, is not to delve deeper into this take, but to give you tips, or at least how I approach social media to get more of the benefits and less of the cons, at least with regards to personal branding. So again, if you use social media right, again, we're gonna focus on Instagram today a bit more, but in general, if you use it right, I think you can really reap the benefits of taking control of your personal brand, or at least having a medium where you can express what you want your personal brand to be, in a fun and sort of simple way, rather than, you know, really thinking about everyone you know in your network and how you're gonna talk to them and what you're gonna wear every day and all that stuff. Yeah. So let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is how you can avoid the biggest negatives of social media, which is either time wasted or excessive comparison to unrealistic ideals, like influencers with Photoshop, all that. So to me, there's one simple thing I've been doing is I don't follow any or very few, if any, influencers or brand accounts or anything that's not a person that I know well, or at least know of pretty well. And I'm speaking specifically about the following, like who you follow on these platforms, like your feed, your main feed, right? And so the reason I do this is twofold. First, it fixes the whole time thing, because if I have like, say I know 1,000 people, which is very dramatic, but let's say I know 1,000 people, even if I followed every single one of those people, chances are they won't all be posting that much, and you'll get through your feed pretty quickly in a day. So you won't be spending that much time on social media, one. But two, and especially, these people are, unless you're, celebrity, they tend to be non-influencers, right? They tend to be your average people, your friends even, that are going through their daily lives and posting about their highlights, and, great chance to connect with them. And so that makes the main feed part of Instagram, let's say, more wholesome in my mind and more productive. And at least it eliminates, the negatives in some way, or at least filters them out. So in my opinion, you should only be following the people that you know or that aren't influencers or brands. Now, obviously follow your friends' brands if they have some. If your friends are influencers, definitely follow them. That's why I said few, if any. But yeah, that makes the experience, more segregated. And I say this because if you want to explore these, which I think it can have value, if you want to explore these brands and these influencers, just hop onto the Explore tab. Hop onto the Explore tab. And that's where I think you should be going about that. And it's simple because the Explore tab is niched, right? So these influencers live within this tab and not within your feed. And so they're not part of the constant stream of people you know. And that makes the normalization less dangerous. I'm not seeing freaking, who's a big entrepreneur. I'm not seeing Gary Vee, whole other story. Let's think of someone else. I'm not seeing these big time, big shots in the same feed as my friends. And I think that's good, because if you see them in the same feed, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is normal. This very filtered, very rich team behind a whole platform or account, I'm seeing right next to my friend, and that makes it seem normal. No, you're seeing them in two distinct areas, and I think that has a lot of value because it makes you realize, okay, this feed is for my friends. Explore is when I want to discover new things or look at these actual influencers, whatever. Because I think there's value in that, right? Seeing beautiful homes from like real estate influencers, seeing nice clothes, seeing watches, seeing, some dope stuff can be really interesting and really valuable. It's just you don't want that in your feed. It's a waste of time. And it mixes up and makes it seem normalized and makes your life seem shitty in comparison most of the time. So yeah, keep that for the Explore feed. It'll also fix the time thing. You'll be less prone to spending more time on this because you have a limit to how much content you're gonna get. That's my first thing. Don't have content creators in your feed unless they're close friends. The second thing, and I'll put up a quote on this because I am not the one who discovered this. I recently saw this quote. I forgot who it was. But it's something I did a lot before, or way before I saw this quote, is don't publish stuff or don't share content the second it is created. If you're at a restaurant, take your story. For God's sake, I'm the first person, or like, what? For God's sake? I'm the first person to take a video of really nice food or a really nice view, or I walk into a place that has a really nice aesthetic, whatever. I'm the first person to film that. Keep it on your phone. Do not share it right away. Do not create a story. Like, you want to use the Instagram camera, fair, fine, use it. Just save. Do not publish right away. It's very simple. I think that sharing content as it is created can have more negatives than good. First off, who cares if you shared your story about Bali the day after you left versus while you were there? No one cares. Your close friends who actually care are gonna ask you, are already gonna know that you left because they talked to you during your time there. And the other people that you just want to show them I was in Bali or I was in this dope place, they're not gonna care if they see it a week later, right? And so that eliminates any loss of anything from doing that. However, you get a lot of benefits. One, people don't know exactly where you are the whole time or at any time. Beyond privacy, even if you don't want privacy, which nowadays seems like a thing people care less about while caring more about. I digress. Even if you don't want privacy, it could just cause security issues. You may not be an influencer, but you might, run into problems where someone having a location of you exactly cannot be a good thing. Can not be a good thing. The second thing is enjoy the moment, for God's sake. Okay, you took your picture, you took your video, done, let's eat. Don't spend 15 minutes perfecting the story. Don't spend all your time creating content while instead of living the content. Take the basics, take the raw footage, leave the processing for later, enjoy the moment. So 2 benefits to this: it'll let you enjoy the moment more, waste less time, taking you away from the experience, and 2, avoids any issues you might run into in case, right? Probably low likelihood, but in case. Also, if you're like me, you are a huge fan of videography or photography, and you won't use Photoshop, but you will do montages or collages or whatever you want to call them, and video edit or whatever. And you don't want to do that while you're living the moment. It takes up so much time. And if it doesn't take up so much time, it takes up like artistic energy space, whatever you want to call it, that you can use better to live in the moment. Anyway, that's my second tip. The third one, okay, this is really interesting, is, in life, they tell you, being a jack of all trades is not a good thing. And then that's the conventional wisdom. More modern approaches are like, no, you need to be well-rounded. You need to be good at different things, right? Just be a master of a couple things and that'll make you better. Be the guy that can do like a bunch of stuff. Whichever one is true doesn't matter. I think on social media, you should at least portray yourself as multifaceted. And the reason I say this, there are a couple reasons I say this. First, most of you watching, including myself, are not known or followed by millions and millions of people. In the sense that we haven't been boxed into a specific box, at least by most of the people that follow us. Of course, I'll have friends that, or like acquaintances, sorry, not friends. I'll have acquaintances that just call me, okay, he's the entrepreneur. He's in consulting, he's in branding, he's in marketing, he's in tech. Sure, there's always a couple people that'll box you in. But for the most of the people we know, at least know decently well, they know a lot of different parts of our life. Or like know of these different parts of our lives. And they thus create a well-rounded image of who we are. AKA the fun part, this guy loves to read, to create music, to go party, whatever. They also know the professional parts. This person is really good at these things, this person's a really good photographer, whatever. And so they have these different categories. They have these different categories and traits per area of our lives. The fun life, the professional, the personal, different aspects of your life. If you're on LinkedIn or on your CV, you don't want to show all of that, right? You might have an interest section that's really small, but you really want to highlight one area exceptionally and the other sort of minimally. For example, on your CV, it's going to be professional, tiny little personal/interest section. On Instagram, I don't think it should be the same. I don't think you should be highlighting fun, personal, and a tiny bit of professional. I think Instagram, because of its nature, and I'm not talking about every social media platform, I'm talking about Instagram specifically, tends to suit multifaceted branding especially well. What I mean by that is that I think on Instagram, you should be highlighting the different categories of your life, aka the fun/personal, like, I don't want to say partying, some people don't party, traveling, all those things you do on the side. I think this should be highlighted as much as, or at least not as much as, but at least not too much compared to, not what you do for work. Don't film your office or days in the life every day, but like show me what you do other than just partying. You should have a well-balanced Instagram, in my opinion, if you want to reap the most benefit out of personal branding you can get through these social media platforms. A couple reasons for this. The biggest one is, like I said in the beginning of the video, your target audience on these platforms, particularly Instagram, if you're public, is not at all narrowed down, niche down, or at least as much as you think it is. It is not just your followers and your friends checking out your Instagram, especially if it's public. Again, it is going to be your recruiter when they're deciding who to hire. It is going to be your future client, if you're an agency owner or whatever, that is just trying to get a feel for who this person is. Like, is this a chill person to work with, whatever. It is your family, your teachers maybe, who knows. There's this saying that's like, don't post anything on social media you don't want your teacher or your parents to see. Well, maybe, yes, probably, but also make sure it's balanced. I feel like the best accounts, or those who reap the most personal branding benefits from Instagram or social media, are those who portray different aspects of their life well and equally, or at least in a way that's authentic to who they are. If you're a kind of person that parties all the time, I won't tell you to show, your professional life too much, because it's just not a big part of your life. But be authentic. Like, If work is a huge part of life, show it. And obviously, this could be a whole other video, but I want to end on this because that was 3 tips. Get the most benefit. To end on this is, social media is usually for highlighting the highs, right? You're not going to show your lows unless you're maybe an influencer you want to see more relatable, or it's a very close friends account that's private. Maybe you want to show your lows, so you can actually interact with these people. But most of the time, you're only showing your highlights. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. I think there's a tremendous value in being vulnerable and showing your lows, but most people won't do it. I'm the first to say, like, I haven't done it. I think there are spaces to share your low points, and I haven't seen Instagram or social media to be the space or the best space for that. But there's definitely room to do it. I think it should be done more. That's a whole other discussion. But even if you're gonna just show the highs of your life and the highlights, right? At least make it multifaceted and show different parts of your life. And I'm done. These are the 3, well, don't leave, a couple of things. So these are the 3 main things you can do to get the most personal branding benefit out of social media. And I want to end on one thing. If you do not have social media at all, weigh the pros and cons. If you feel like you have a strong personal brand with the people who you care about having a strong personal brand with, work, personal, whatever, and you don't have social media and it's working out well for you, you don't need it. It's a tool. It's a mean to an end that's available, that's very democratized. If you feel that you need it, use it. I recommend it, as long as you follow like some forms of self-preservation or ways to avoid the negatives. I just shared with you a couple. I think these are the main ones. If you have others, feel free to share them. But yeah, I think I would recommend using social media for that reason. It gives you control of your personal brand in a way that's simple, can be authentic, and can be mostly beneficial. And you never know when that next opportunity is on there. You never know when... There's so many people I've connected with just on a deeper level, just because we saw like, oh my God, you were in the same place I was, or I can't say in the same city because I said don't post stories while you're there, but you get what I mean. Like, there's so many things that happened that wouldn't have happened had it not been for social media. Not giving you FOMO. I don't think you should have FOMO no matter how huge the network effects are. Just telling you it's a great tool. Food for thought. Anyway, that's how I think of it. That's it for me. I have to show, this was the setup for today. This beautiful stand, locker box, and then BAM!